So a lot of people think that they are progressing in life, but they are actually just moving around circles. They are just moving. They
Yeah.
are not progressing. So on today's session, we're going to be having a conversation around progress illusion.
Yeah.
But before we talk about this in detail, before we get to the meat of of what we have for you today, let's first understand what progress means, what it really means.
Exactly.
You know, and when we talk about progress illusion, what does that really mean, by the way?
Yeah.
And progress means different things to
To
different
different
people.
exactly.
Yes, so
Because I could think something of progress and you could think a different thing entirely.
exactly. So what progress, right? So progress is not just activity, it's about advancement. Right? You're doing something and you're actually seeing the results of what you're doing. So let's look at the one angle a lot of people think about progress, the financial angle. So when we talk about financial progress, what are we really talking about? So it is not just about the money that you earn. Some people feel that, oh, I earn money consistently and then that is it. No, it is more about keeping that money and growing it.
So if I'm making, that means if I'm making like ₦1 million every day and I can't keep it, I can't grow it, I'm not really making progress financially.
You're not making progress because when you
Okay.
finish spending that money, you're back to square one, zero.
Yeah.
You have
Yeah.
nothing in your account. And I know that a lot of us are guilty of this. So you're moving from just
Happens
earning your
sometimes.
salary to owning assets. You know, like maybe land or properties or investment. And then
Yeah.
the next one I'm going to look at is your progress when it comes to career. Now, not just about how some people believe that when they work from 7 to 7, they are making progress.
Okay.
You know, the number of hours they
True.
spend,
Yeah.
the longer
A
they
lot of
spend
you
at
can
work,
relate, right?
you know. But it's more about increasing your value. As you're working those long hours, what value are you, you know, giving out? What value
Yeah.
are you
Yeah.
offering? And are you increasing that value and also your income level? So it's not just about the hours. So this is
Yeah.
where you move from struggling to pay your rent to being able to afford your rent consistently, basic needs, and also other opportunities. And then you can also invest. And then the other one we could talk about is personal progress. Now, personal progress is more like you becoming better in your thinking. Like the way you
Yeah.
were thinking last year is different from how you're thinking today.
Exactly.
You've improved your mindset. You're more open. You're learning every day and improving, right? So you're improving your thinking, your discipline level, and your decision making. So you make wise decisions, you know, in life generally. So
Yeah.
an example of this is moving from impulse spending. Once you have money in your account, you feel like, you know, you can just afford anything. So you just go straight, you know. When you move from impulse spending to, you know, spending intentionally,
Yeah.
you know, intentional financial planning. So progress is not just about, oh, I'm busy. Progress is I'm better than I was before. And it is not just you saying you're better than you were before, it actually shows. It
Yeah.
shows in everything you do, and we get to see the results.
Beautiful. You know, there's something interesting about all of this. She said she talked about financial progress, career progress, right? And yeah, financial progress, career progress, then personal progress. The interesting thing about this, what I got from your conversation, and you really schooled me right now, is that, you know, basically it all starts from personal progress, you know, right? Because your finances can get better, your career will not get better if personally
You don't
you
get
don't decide to
better.
get better. It's not by activity, it's not by that was really quite interesting. Now we're talking about progress illusion, and we've looked at what progress really means from different angles and how you can have a holistic idea of what progress is. Now, what is an illusion? When we hear illusion, what does that mean? An illusion is simply something that looks real, but it's not real.
Yeah.
It looks real, but it's not real. The very first time I saw an illusion or had an idea of illusion is when I was still very little. So many of you can relate to this. Then when we are traveling to the village, we are driving in the car, then at some point you see something that looks like water on the road.
Yeah.
Down on the road. It's called a mirage.
Yeah.
It look like there's water down there on the road. Like that, there's water in front of them. My dad is driving. But then as we drive closer, the water will be disappearing.
Yeah. I get you.
That's
Just
a
see
good,
the road.
exactly. You never seen the road. It's just like from what I found, is the reflection of the sun on the road from a distance that made it look like water. That's a perfect example of what an illusion is. It looks real. You're definitely going to think it's real. But as you get closer to it, you realize, oh, it's not real. It's not
It's
real.
fake.
It's not real. Exactly. That's basically what an illusion is. And now bringing it together, progress illusion. It basically is when it feels like you're making progress. The progress looks real, but in real life, it's not real. That's the easiest way I can put it for you. Progress illusion is when you feel like you're moving forward, but when you check your life, nothing has actually improved. Let it sit with you small. Yeah, simple. You're active, you're busy, you're earning, but you're not advancing. For instance, you got a salary increase, but as soon as the salary increases, so does your expenses. All of a sudden, you don't eat beans and rice again. I want to eat Italian sopreraro, whatever that is. You understand? Your taste buds just increase, your lifestyle changes. I mean, you've been working for 3 to 5 years, but you still don't own anything growing in value.
Yeah.
There's no single asset anywhere. You don't want to look at something that can grow your money. Now that is progress illusion. It's not like you're not earning more, but you're not intentionally taking steps to make sure that the progress you're making can actually grow. Can, like she said, results can be seen. Because a lot of people make progress, but when they look back in time, they can't see the progress. Why? They didn't take actions to make sure that results were seen.
I think those people in particular actually feel, is a feeling.
Yeah.
Dreaming that you're progressing. Is a
Yeah.
feeling that you're progressing, but
Yeah.
you're actually not progressing. In your dream, you've built 5 mansions.
Your dream.
You know, or your feeling of progress, you want your dream car, you're living comfortably, you can pay your needs, you know. But when you come back to reality, you're not there yet. Like, it's just a feeling, you feel like you're productive,
Yeah.
but you're not taking deliberate and intentional action to see that this thing really, really exists, like it comes to pass eventually.
Exactly. Each and every one of us have been there at one point in our life, and maybe you're even there, and maybe a part of your life is there. So this is why we're bringing this your way. Then right now we're going to be talking about a few things, that can bring about progress illusion. There are 3 things we're going to talk about, and the first thing we're talking about is income without direction. Now we're hitting these things right on the head. Income without direction. What does that simply mean? For instance, I gave an instance where I've made money for 3 years. I've been making money for 3 good years. But as I make more money, my expenses are increasing. For instance, let's say, boss said something last week that stuck with me. He says that the money is in your account, don't mean you can afford to spend it. That sat with me real good. And that brings me to this instance here where he says, for 3 years, I made good money, real good money. At the end of the 3rd year, all I had was a slightly nicer phone. What does that mean? So because you were able to hit, let's say you're hitting 10 million monthly, right? And at the end of 5 months, 10 million naira in profit. So then at the end of 5 months, that's 50 million naira, right? So because you have 50 million naira in your account, doesn't mean you should be able to afford a car worth 50 million naira at that time. Right? Bam! You just say, man, this 50 million naira, you spend it on a car immediately. Pam! Or you gather people say, I have 5, and you're just, it doesn't mean you can afford to spend it, because income without a financial identity is like a bucket to the hole. Imagine you don't have plan for that money. It's like bringing the bucket, so okay, you're pouring sand into it, whereas it has a hole on that. It just keeps, I think that's a beautiful analogy for you to get that. The harder you work, the more you pour in, the more it leaks out of that hole. That's why it's always empty. Yeah.
So the question isn't just how much do I make more,
Yeah.
right? The question is the one that I've made, how much more is it going to make for me?
Mm.
Is very important.
That is
So
definitely clock
clock
it.
it.
Clock it, yeah.
So if you can't answer that, the money will answer for you. How? Usually you just feel like because you have money in your account, you
Yeah.
can just spend that money. You can just afford to spend that money. And usually, just like he says, at the end of the day, it's almost like you did not make any money at
Yeah.
all,
That can
right?
be painful.
So income is not a plan, right? Income without a destination is just spending that hasn't happened yet.
Let them sit with that small. Did you hear what she said? Income without a plan is just spending. Hasn't happened yet. That means
Yeah.
you
Because
finish.
whatever comes, you're going to spend on it.
Yeah.
You didn't plan. Whatever comes, you're going to spend on it.
Interesting one.
And this brings us to our second point,
Yeah.
the asset building blind spot. So there are two kinds of hard work. I love this. Work that pays you once and stop the moment you stop the work.
Yeah.
And then work that keeps paying. For example, your skills, a system you've built,
Yeah.
assets, relationships that
I
compound.
love that one. I love that one. Talking about talking about two types of work. Most of us we are taught to celebrate the first kind, which is, I mean, I for one, I have. Okay, my dad is late, but we are both working had a 9 to 5 for most of their life, and by default, many people are learn what they see. So growing up, see your parents go out in the morning, coming back. You tend to think that is all life is. Show up in the morning, clock in, get paid, get a salary, but nobody taught us to ask, okay, is there actually a way that I can make more money without exerting myself, without being the person doing everything on myself, without having to go out by 8 in the morning and return by 5 p.m. So that is something that most people have, and this point hopes to debunk.
Yeah. So an asset doesn't have to be
A
just
property,
property or stocks, right? Is anything that creates value and creates value beyond your direct effort.
beyond
So,
your
like
direct
we
effort.
mentioned
Yeah,
skills earlier, right? Maybe on public speaking,
yeah,
a business, that grows, a system that actually works for you, that can, still make you some money even when you're not involved. That is
yeah,
why we said there are two types of work. The work that pays you and most people won't know how to do the first, which is the type of work that pays you once. And once you're not there, it means you're no longer earning.
yeah.
So it is very important to have a system or to get involved in the type of work that pays you even when you're not physically on ground. Now, for some people, they've created value, they've built systems in such a way that even when they are physically sick, like maybe they are ill, they are not
Yeah.
on ground, or maybe says for women, maybe childbirth, right?
Yeah.
And then that's gonna take like maybe 2 years of your time, and then you cannot be physically on ground. They already have a system that is working, even though they are not there, they
Yeah.
get to still earn money. Now that is a type of work that pays you even when you're not on ground. So a skill set that commands higher rates, an audience or a community, a business process, someone else runs on your behalf, or a reputation or a niche authority, and then investment that generates passive returns. That's basically what I explained earlier. And these are examples of some of the type of work that
Yeah.
you would do that can actually earn you money even when you're not physically there. And this leads us to the third one, which is um, doing the same thing for, let's say, over 5 years and nothing has really changed. Like you're still seeing the same result. But my question is, why will you even still be doing the same thing for 5 years? You're not getting
You're not seeing any new thing.
and you're just there. For me, 5 years is too long now.
That's like a what's the word? That's like a toxic relationship. I mean, why would you do that to
Exactly.
yourself?
So some people have 5 years of experience, right? And other people have 1 year of experience, but repeated five
Five
times.
times.
Okay. So the difference is whether you extracted the lessons and then you changed or you just continued. So the reason why you're experiencing the same thing for 5 years and you're still there is because you've not learned your lessons. It's either you've not learned your lessons or so that you can change and try what works. You right? That's why you're still stuck there, and then you keep thinking, keep assuming you're making progress. Right?
Yeah.
And this is where the issue of progress comes. You just feel like you're making progress, but in reality, you're just stuck for 5 years. While someone else will have the same experience for 1 year, they'll learn the lessons, they'll make decisions and also take action to change their circumstances, right? Whatever it is they are in at the time, they make intentional, deliberate, action. They take deliberate action to ensure that they don't experience, they're not like the first person, they don't experience the same thing for 5 years
5 years.
without a positive result. And oftentimes, this set of people, you see a lot of growth. Like from the outside, you're seeing them and then you're seeing growth consistently, right?
Yes.
You can see how they move from point zero to where they are. Start seeing that happen in the life of a few persons around me right now.
Yeah.
I can still remember how they started, the process,
Yeah.
the growth, and where they currently are. So it is very, very important that you don't just stay stuck, right? Or have that belief. You're still dreaming. In that your dream, you have 5 cars. You're financially. Please don't be in that position. It's not a good place to be. Because I think at that point, there's nothing someone can do to you, to make you come out of that level of illusion.
So now, actually, this is really beautiful. Really, really. You're even going to. I think she may not agree with it, but personally, to me, I feel she's a good example of this. I mean, this amazing lady right here. Oh Lord, let's not go. Let's not go. But either way, it's really important that speed is important. Get the experience, move on. You don't have to, because naturally people subtly, without even knowing, settle into patterns.
Yeah.
Before you know it, you're living 1 year again and again and again. You should be a person that would like to break a pattern, and they're going to be talking to you about that shortly in the next point. So before we go to the next point, one thing you have to do is just ask yourself, what specific decision am I taking differently this year than last year? If you can name it. If you can't name it, then you're actually in the loop. And at this point, things different for you this year or in time to come. If you're bold enough, you can put in the section of this particular video. All right. So now we're going to be looking at a framework to help you not be a person that lives 1 year 5 times. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to take it. There are 3 questions you're going to ask yourself. The question you take second, and then third, then we'll call it a wrap. Like I said, human beings slip into patterns without knowing. Get a level of consciousness, and these things, not myself, I do it quarterly. Sometimes in a month, I can even do it. Instead of doing it quarterly, I can do it once in a month. If I realize that, okay, I'm doing this thing like this, why I think it's not changing?
I think some people even do it once a month. Some people even do it weekly.
Yeah.
They do it weekly, like, how was my last week?
Yes.
How did my week go?
Yes.
What did I do that was right, that led me to this
Yes.
result. You don't have to
Exactly.
wait until 30 days or 31
Exactly.
days, a month, or quarterly to get that done.
So we're going to be asking you, help you with 3 questions you can ask yourself: daily, weekly, quarterly, depending on what you're measuring, right? If it's weekly, you use weekly, and so on. So the first question you should ask yourself is, where is my effort actually going? And what does it own, build, or compound? Important question. What you're doing right now, where is it leading you to? What direction is it moving the needle? What is it compounding over time? It's important you ask yourself that regarding the things you're doing right now. It's important you ask that question.
So on to the next question. What would I have to believe about money for my current habits to make sense? I think I love this, right? So a lot of us have certain limited beliefs about money. I'm going to use myself for example.
Yeah.
You know, growing up, you hear things like money does not grow on trees.
Yeah.
Do you think money grow on trees? So I decided to change that. For me, money grows everywhere. There's abundance everywhere.
Yes.
Money, I believe that money comes to me easily, right? I
Yeah.
believe that money meets money in my hands.
Yes.
I also believe that there's enough in abundance in
Yeah.
the universe. We'll never run out of it.
Yes.
So for me, I had to change some money beliefs, right? And also that made me change certain habits, okay? And for what do you think about money for your current habits? I think you should think about that deeply.
This is not something, if you really study all the people in the world, they do this. They constantly challenge their money habits, money mindset to make sure it's helping them grow. Number 3 question to ask yourself is, if I keep doing exactly this for 3 more years, would my life look genuinely different?
Yes or no? You don't have to explain the
You actually
answer.
said something very interesting when you were talking. Now, it depends on what you're measuring,
Yeah.
right? It depends on what you're measuring. If it's weekly, monthly, yearly, like she said, which is very important, you don't have to wait 3 years to measure, to check. Okay,
This is
depends
working.
on what you're measuring. This is just a framework that you can break down to suit what you're doing per time. So ask yourself, if I continue doing this for 3 more weeks, for 3 more days, for 3 more months, for 3 more years, would my life genuinely look different? If you check and in years to come, it won't make any difference, then there's no need to continue repeating that and having a progress illusion. Okay, so it's important you ask yourself this question. Just take it again. What is my effort going to? What can it build? What can it compound over time? What beliefs about money can I change? In other words, my money habits. And then in time to come, if I continue doing what I'm doing, will my life
Will there
change?
be a difference? Will it change?
Yes. So that is basically what we hope to achieve. And we know we have achieved that with today's live session where we talked about progress illusion. We've told you what it is, what progress is, then what illusion is, what progress illusion is, and 3 things that bring about progress illusion. And we've taught you and told you questions that you can ask yourself to actually ensure that you are not caught in the loop of making.
Now it comes to the very end of our session today. And till we come your way again, remember today we talked about progress illusion. Just search yourself, ask yourself these life-changing questions. You know, do the analysis and redirect yourself in the right direction. So,
All right.
see you next. Bye-bye.
Bye for now. Make sure there's no progress illusion. Bye for now.